This video is brought to you by Brazil Resources, trading on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol BRI, and on the OTCQX International Market under BRIZF. Brazil Resources just announced an agreement to acquire 100% of the Cachoeira project from Luna Gold Corp. The deal terms imply BRI is paying $18 an ounce for gold in an emerging gold district in northern Brazil, located near BRI's other 3 gold projects. The company is 35% institutionally owned, with 16% of outstanding shares held by the KCR fund, controlled by Doug Casey, Rick Rule, and Marin Katusa. The geological team has earlier discovered more than 10 million ounces of gold directly in Brazil, and is led by successful mining CEO Amir Adnani. To learn more about Brazil Resources, visit BrazilResources.com or call 855-630-1001. All right, greetings and thank you for joining us at FutureMoneyTrends.com. I'm here at the Cambridge House Silver Summit in Indian Wells with Greg McCoach of MiningSpeculator.com. Greg, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, great. Glad to be here.
Greg, I'd love to have a conversation with you just about the precious metals in light of what's happened over the past week. The metals have taken a pretty big hit, so let's talk to first people who already own the precious metals. They bought it because they're concerned about the economic environment, they're concerned about inflation, but unless they're holding Japanese yen, they've actually been seeing some deflation in the metals.
Right.
Or at least maybe not clear economic definition of deflation, but the metals have been going down. What are your overall thoughts of this current market as far as the metals going down and the mining stocks just being demolished?
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting the emails and the phone calls, and I've been dealing with that. And I'm trying to just calm people down, just saying this is, you can look at it either as a correction. Nothing goes up straight line. Things correct at times, markets correct at times. Whether it's a correction or whether it's more spurious activity on the COMEX, I don't really care. The bottom line is that precious metals at these levels are a great buying opportunity. And if we don't always know if we're going to get these kind of scenarios. If you do, you dollar cost average. You build a even bigger position, because the fundamentals for the precious metals, for the quality precious metal mining shares, are not only intact, but they're getting better by the day. And we read in the news all these different things, like the latest data that came out from the government stating that the government is now borrowing 46 cents on every dollar they spend. Well, that's not sustainable. There's no possible way that we can continue doing that. So there is an end game to this. We just don't know the timing on it. So my take is to just relax, sleep well at night, take a stand on what you believe is going to happen, and then take your position and stop worrying about it. Stop worrying about the volatility, even though the volatility has been very great as of late. I know it's difficult. I know it's not easy, but what else do you have to do, right? Yeah. What else are you going to do with what the circumstances are? So you just take what you know is going to work historically through a millennium. This has proven itself over and over again. So relax, take your stand, take your position, and don't worry about it, because sooner or later, short term, mid-term, long term, you're going to be right.
With this instability and some of it being unprecedented, I guess unprecedented for anybody who's living now.
Right.
Never always been in a superpower collapse. Are the mining stocks and stocks in general safe to buy? As far as, not so much are they going to go up and down, but are they actually safe assets to hold?
Well, the mining stocks are not for everybody. They're very speculative. The market is extremely volatile, as we see. And, this market has needed to have a washout. In other words, after the 2008 meltdown, many of us thought that a lot of these juniors would go away, because there's a lot of companies that are not doing the right things for the right reasons. However, they were able to stay alive, kept raising more money. Now, in this grind, I think you're going to finally see the shaking out. The bushes are going to be shaken, and a lot of these junior mining stocks, the ones that are not quality, the ones that are more pump and dump scams, the wrong people taking the big salaries and trying to, just take advantage of their investors. Okay, we're not interested in companies like that. In my newsletter, I'm trying to find the real deal people. I screen through a lot of garbage, trying to find good companies with good people who are putting the money in the ground for the right reason. And for those companies, it's presenting us with a great opportunity to buy. Whereas the crummy part of the market, which we don't want to get involved with, is finally going to probably have its day, get its comeuppance, so to speak. And I think you're going to see a big washout in the junior mining shares, which is a good thing. It's going to make the surviving companies that much stronger.
Do you think there could be other situations where, like with the MF Global, people were buying bullion and some of them they didn't get their bullion. It just they got basically Gerald Celente was saying that he actually lost money.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that could happen to people who have like an Options Express account or E-Trade account where they have, I've got a great mining stock, it goes up, and then something happens to E-Trade, or are there things to protect people?
Sure. I mean, there's all kinds of scenarios like that. I think, first of all, let me state this. When it comes to owning the physical precious metals, I believe you have to take possession of it. Okay? The reason for that is because when push comes to shove, a lot of these fraudulent products, these paper representations of gold and silver, like ETFs, like pooled accounts, certificate accounts, by law they only have to keep, a small, very small percentage of their money in actual physical metals. So they take your money and do whatever the heck they want with it. But when push comes to shove and the gold and silver prices spike, how are they going to deliver you their return if they don't own the actual metal?
Yeah.
They're not. So you're not going to get the return that you thought you were going to get. You're going to be very disappointed. With the mining stocks, this is why personally I trade my stocks on the Canadian side, right? Because I'm worried about the very thing you're talking about, where somebody could collapse, right? There's monies to prevent that, or come into play to protect a company that goes out of business, but that's just one. There's not enough money to protect the whole system if the whole system has problems. So overall, like I said, the quality junior mining shares are a good place to be, but you have to pay attention to where you're actually trading. And that's why I trade on the Canadian side. U.S. investors can open a Canadian brokerage account. They do all the reporting on the U.S. side, so you're not doing anything illegal. You just report your gains and losses like you always do.
Is it the same if you buy their OTC symbol? The TSX they always have,
See, that's that market. You can buy them on the OTC bulletin board market, but what happens? That market's not as liquid, and there's a lot of game playing on that market. So a lot of people, you never want to put a market order in that kind of market, because you'll be taken out of your position at a disadvantage. You want to be able to, if you trade the OTC bulletin board market, you want to do nothing but, state your price where you're willing to sell or buy, and leave it at that. Never do a market order in that market. On the TSX Venture, it's a much more liquid market, and there's much more volume on that market, so that's why I like trading on that side. And again, it's up to you. You can trade on the U.S. side. It's a little more difficult to set up an account on the Canadian side. Not all brokerages can do it, but some can. You need to find out who they are.
Is there a floor for the gold price due to the cost of production?
Oh, absolutely. I believe that right now, there's been a recent study that came out from the major gold mining companies. They had a meeting in Denver here just the end of the year last year. And total cost out of the ground, a number much higher than what I would have thought it would have been. If someone asked me, I would have said maybe $1,100, $1,200 an ounce. It's more like $1,500 an ounce. So when you see the gold price going down right now, how low can we go? Well, maybe $1,450 before other factors kick in, and gold mining companies simply shut down from mining. So I think that's the new floor, $1,450, $1,500.
Now, as far as the bear market, I don't know if you refer to it as bear market, you can comment on that, but as far as the bear market in the mining stocks for the last few years, where they've just been kind of brutal assets to hold, the assets they have, the mines, are deteriorating. They're very profitable, but they have a mine life. How long can this go on for the mining companies themselves? Because here they're producing this metal, and the mine is the lifespan is shrinking.
Absolutely. No, it's a key point. These things have lives. They're not indefinite. A mine produces, and the mines, all the big mining companies are desperate now to replenish their reserves. And what's happening in the exploration business is that it's getting harder and harder to make discoveries. The permitting times to put these discoveries into production are getting longer and longer. So it's a real squeeze. It's a real squeeze from a supply-demand scenario.
As far as the mining stocks, do you recommend people go with the bigger companies first and then find some speculative ones, or?
Everybody's different. If you want less risk, the majors can be better oriented for that. But I like the juniors because they're more speculative. They're higher risk for sure. But if you know what you're doing and you stick with the quality companies, we know we're not going to win on all of them. But when you make a discovery, if you've ever been involved with being an investor of a company that makes a discovery and it goes 10x in a matter of weeks, once you've experienced that, you want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And there's many of my subscribers who have experienced it. Not lately. We've had a few winners, not many. There's more losers than winners right now, and that's the trouble. Is that there appears to be too much risk in the market, and so people withdraw their money and they're holding onto their cash right now. And I can't blame them, But in reality, if you want to make money, you have to buy low and sell high. So that means you have to train yourself to buy low when the market news isn't so good, right? But if you don't do that, typically, like we were talking earlier, human emotions often dictate, I like to buy with the crowd, right?
Yeah.
As the prices start rising and go up to higher levels, then I feel comfortable buying. But then what that does, it sets you up for potential losses if there's further volatility, right? The lower you can buy, the less risk there is. There's more upside, particularly in a precious metal investment that we see right now.
Overall, in closing, is now a good time to be in the stock market because the retail investor is kind of out of it? So it almost feels like the depression where people who bought in the 30s, obviously it paid off big for them. Are we kind of buying in the depression and it's going to pay off big for us?
I agree. I think so. Now, the timing. This is, we don't have crystal balls to say when this is going to happen, but I would suggest that the precious metal prices are probably getting fairly close to a bottom. That doesn't mean that junior mining stocks are going to rebound right away. We missed our first quarter recovery here, so we're going to probably go into the sell in May, go away crowd, summer doldrums. So the grind in the metals, the junior mining stocks is probably going to continue, and it may continue until the fall. But at some point that will change, and we know in this business that it can change on a dime. All of a sudden, everybody wants to buy junior mining stocks again, and they'll go, and the money will come into the best quality companies first. By then, I'd imagine that there's going to be a lot less junior mining companies around because the weak hands, the ones that really shouldn't even be in business, will be long gone.
Greg, thank you so much for your time.
Glad to be
Appreciate
here.
it. You have a good day.
You too.